All right, so taking a look at the playoff picture now, the Eagles, they're still in the hunt, but that is a big loss for them as they drop to 5-5 with the Cowboys winning earlier today, too, beating up on the Lions. They moved to 6-4. These two teams will face off later in the season, and you look at the schedule for the Eagles coming up in their next 6 games. You got Seattle and you got Dallas. Those are the 2 tough games, but after that, you got a sprinkle of the Giants and Washington in there. But, I mean, as far as the bigger picture is concerned, that's a big loss for the Eagles.
No, this hurt them. They'd actually put themselves back in the race with wins over the Bills, a win over the Chicago Bears, and now you're looking at the way that everything's stacking up, and you think you have a chance. Right now, you have to try to find a way to win the NFC East, because when you see a Minnesota Vikings team and a Seattle Seahawks team sitting in those wild card spots, it doesn't look like you're going to get those spots from those teams. And so you still have to play against Seattle. You still have to play against Dallas, and those wins can help you. But the way that this team looks against the good football teams that it has played, you don't really feel like this team can make their way into the playoffs. And that's going to be tough, because this is your first year without Nick Foles leading you down the stretch and having your franchise guy.
There's so many close games where they're going to look back and they're going to be like, man, if that one would have turned a little differently, you know.
That play there, that play here.
And you know, you hate to do it, but I mean, everyone in a locker room does it, especially when you have a Week 16 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, which, you know, really – I think, you know, 3 weeks ago we could have looked at that and said, there's a good shot that determines the division. But, you know, Ryan's right. They're right there against a really good football team. The plays are there to be made. And, you know, you get beat by New England because, they run a trick play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically they run a trick play and you don't make the play at the end of a game. And it's ultimately why you end up losing.
But that's football.
Yeah.
Like, when we went 12-4 and we went to the Super Bowl, we were really good defensively, but it felt like we were in a fight every week. And it was those situational football plays at the end of games that we made, and that put us in a position to get to the playoffs. And that's what the Eagles aren't doing, that we've seen them do the last 2 years that put them in the playoffs. And so when you have a guy like Carson Wentz, I believe the pressure is kind of ramped up on him. Right? They're expecting him to find a way to make a play. But if you go back to Atlanta, you go back to Detroit, these games early on in the season where you had opportunities to make catches and salt these games away and win them.
Playoff teams can't lose those games.
Exactly. You're in a totally different position. You win those.
Well, think about, we just watched the 49ers.
Yeah.
And so what did they do? They found a way to win. Now, you may not be able to do it each and every single week. We're talking about a 12-4 team. That's a great season.
Yep.
Well, listen, of those 4 losses, like, look, yeah, there's some in there. It was like, we didn't do what we did on the other 12.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say situational football, though, how much does it come down to coaching then?
It comes down to coaching, but it's about execution. Like, if you look at that play with Nelson Aguilar, and it's a lot of things that happen inside the game that put you in that position. But when you are in that position, it's about players going out and making plays. And they just didn't at that point. And the New England Patriots found ways to. And it's so many times you end up and you look at the end of the year and you see a team and you think to yourself, that team's lucky. Right? You say, oh, they got a break here, or they got a break there, or the ball bounced their way this time. That's because those teams have prepared themselves for those moments.
Yeah. By the way, big day for Dak Prescott and Jimmy Garoppolo. Both had 400-yard passing games, first time in franchise history that those two teams.
Dak gonna get $40 million.
Hey, he might deserve it, right?
I mean, look, little things, and they're bigger things than this, but little things. Punts inside the 5.
Absolutely.
I mean, little things add up to big things, and the Patriots win a game in which neither team had 20 points.
Well, and so familiar with the Patriots, we can dissect them because they are so good and have been for so long. So their run defense was suspect for a large part of the season. Since week 4, they have given up 5.6 yards per carry. Today, you saw Coach Belichick pull them together because at the start of that game, the Philadelphia Eagles were running the football and running it well. They ended up running for 3.9 yards a carry for the game. So whatever it is that Coach Belichick told them, it worked. And that's why he has to have players who are smart enough to make adjustments in real time during a football game.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app, and for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.